Hey gamers, welcome back. Today we're going to be tackling speed painting British foot artillery. They're pretty iconic with their dark blue tunics and red facings, perfect for giving Durlon a bit of a bloody nose. If you haven't already, do please like and subscribe, and then head over to the Facebook page just so that you can get kept up to date with all the new videos and content that we've got coming. So next up we've got preparation, and that starts with a good primer. I use 5-star matte black. It's nice and cheap, but you could use anything you've got. Get your paints together. Again, I use a variety of different brands, but they're acrylic paints. A mixture of brushes. You want fine detail, medium, and probably a large one. And then a few different tools for just clipping and getting your units ready. And then we move into our base colours. So this speed paint technique is all about sort of blocking them out, so I would suggest get all of your miniatures together. In this case we're doing the trousers, and we're using uniform grey from Army Painter. And so I like to paint on the sprue. I find it gives me more to hold on to, and then I can just move from one base to another, and I find it works pretty quickly. As I said, these are acrylic paints, so if you do make a mistake, you can always quickly get a brush into the water, put it over the area, and then with a bit of tissue suck the sort of water away, and that'll clear it up. But being the first coat and the first paint, you don't need to worry too much at this stage. Just use a medium brush. Next up we've got the tunics, and we're using Night Blue from Game Colour. It's good quality paint, I like it a lot, and it does flow very nicely and doesn't really dry out particularly fast, so highly recommend it. If you haven't already, do please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. So next up we're doing the woodwork of the gun itself, and for this I've mixed 50-50 magic blue and bone white. Both colours come from Game Colour, and I found that gives me the light blue that we kind of stereotypically see around the British artillery, so it does the job nicely. If you've got any projects that you're currently working on, do please comment down below, but also share some photos in the Facebook page. Now we've got the tools, and if there's any mounted officers, the horses as well, and we're just using chocolate brown from Model Colour for this. So again, because we're speed painting, I try to use the colours as much as possible on as many different things, so rather than getting a completely separate colour for the horse, we're using brown, let's just use brown. If we were at a later stage and we were doing the flesh, then you could use bone white, but as far as I'm concerned, which when you're doing it, you're speed painting, use what is at hand at the right time. And next up we're going to do the metalwork. So we're using silver from Game Colour, and we're going to use this on the barrel of the gun. There's bits of metal around the carriage itself. The officers, they have swords, and the men themselves have bayonets and different tools and accoutrements attached to their person. And the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed on some of these sprues there is actually a howitzer, which I think is pretty cool, because often you don't see them so much. We just sort of take it for granted that they would be there, I guess, but they can add an extra dimension into your games if you use them. Next up, the iconic British bread bag. We're using bone white from Game Colour for these. And I do find they stand out pretty nicely against the dark tunic. But I'd say probably they're not quite as iconic as the water bottles are, in that nice bright blue. In this case we're using magic blue from Game Colour to get those to stand out. You could wait until later on for this, however I feel do it at this stage, and we can always highlight them later. Then we're doing the flesh tone for all of the miniatures, and we're using bone white from Game Colour, although what I have done is added a little touch of red and a little touch of brown just to bring it a little bit more healthy flesh tone rather than how the way this comes out often looking a bit zombie like. So just play around with the colours unless you have one already that you like. Once you've got all the base colours done, it's time to apply a dark brown wash. If you go to my channel, you'll find a video which I've already done, which shows how I make my own washers for a pretty good, cheap price. And now we get to step 3, which is highlighting and final touches. So what I like to do is, rather than having multiple different shades of the same colour, is we use the same colour a second time. So once we applied it the first time, then we put the wash over the top, which will then dull it down and make it a bit grimy, and then we go back in with the exact same colour fresh for our highlighting. Saves time and saves money, so it's a win-win for me. But in this case we're doing all of the white bits. Next up we're doing the facing colours, so for that we're using Crimson from System 3, which isn't a model paint, but it is a craft acrylic. It's good quality, and for the amount that you get in the tub, I'm pretty sure it works out cheaper than buying an individual, say, game colour or definitely a Citadel colour. So definitely something that you might want to look into, maybe experimenting using those type of paints. Then we've got the lace and the epaulets, basically the yellow or goldy yellow parts, and we're using yellow from System 3 for these. And I find once we've got the red facings, the yellow lace work in, they really start to look the part of British artillerymen, and you can really see them starting to come to life, which is quite a rewarding stage, at least for me. And then we have our final step, which is the brass work, so cap badges, buckles, etc. And we're using bright bronze from Game Colour on this. And I always find that once I've got this on, I know the miniatures, they're done, they're ready to go. All that's left after that is to base them. So when it comes to basing, really the sky's the limit for you. You can use tufts and clump foliage and sticks and all sorts of things and make them really scenic and dioramic-like. Or you can go very basic. These miniatures, they tend to come with just a green base. You could leave them on that green base and not do any more. You could paint the base, you could just apply sand to it, and then paint that or not. There are so many options. It really depends on you as an individual, and also what your budget is. But I would highly recommend basing them just because it does make the miniatures look finished. And we're basing completed, we're ready for the tabletop. So what do you think, guys? I'm pretty happy with the way these guys came out. If you haven't already, do please like and subscribe so you'll be updated whenever new stuff is released. But yeah, let me know down below, did I miss anything out? Should I have added something extra in? Or do you think they look okay? Let me know, I'm always interested. The same techniques, as you can see here, can be used for horse artillery, and I have got a separate video for that if you want to watch it. But until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.